Aloha, and welcome to Top Tech Talent Reemployment Project. I'm Peter. The whole idea behind this is that the tech industry has been decimated both 2023 and 2024 with layoffs. The layoffs have continued here into the end of 2024. So this is an opportunity for us to get to know some of those top technology talent folks out there in the wilderness looking for roles. And today I'm excited to have an old colleague going back a number of years, Julia. Hi, good to see you, Julia. It's been a little
It's good to
while.
see you, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. With this whole job market, just figured I might as well kind of do what I love and maybe help some folks out along the way.
I love that you're giving so many people an opportunity to sort of put their personality out there. A lot of times, that process of making a resume about yourself takes a lot of the exciting, weird things, all your little quirks just go out the window. But here, I think people get an opportunity to show what it would be like to work with them. And that's so important for knowing if you're going to be a good fit for a team.
Absolutely. So why don't we kick it right off? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Julia, and some of the jobs you've been involved with and what you're really loving to do in the workplace.
So my name is Julia. Hi, my pronouns are they, them. Um, Technically, I am a writer, but my training as a writer came while I was studying computational cognitive neuroscience, which is why I get to fit into this tech universe. I like to say I was working with AI before it was cool because it was back in the early 2000s that I was building little like 400 node backprop models and stuff like that.
Right.
But what I really love to do is kind of this matchmaking between a company and their products and services and a potential customer, where you do this process of getting to know really intimately what a particular individual potential customer or group of customers, what problems they're dealing with, what kinds of things annoy them, how much time they even have to think about you and your company or you and your solution. And then think about the best way to tune how you talk about your products and how you talk about your solutions so that the people who you're trying to reach care what you have to
Yeah.
say.
So was there one particular kind of project in the last few years that you were particularly proud of when it comes to matching solution with customer?
Is it okay if I talk about a project that was kind of a failure in some way?
I think that's right, because failure, shoot, we're failing at getting a job, but we're learning and plowing through. So absolutely, it's a learning experience. Have at it.
So it's only a kind of failure, but it was a really fun project to work on. We were working on a go-to-market campaign, and we were trying to reach a group of developers with a product that was designed to be able to accommodate any of like the weird characteristics that somebody's system might have. If you have one of these janky, cobbled together ecosystems of technology, we would still be able to secure whatever it was that you had. And I got to thinking about the developers that I've known personally and had as friends in my life, and how they have this kind of very deep affection for the weird quirks that their systems have because they're all cobbled together like that. And I thought, how do we represent those quirky systems in a way that shows that they are lovable and that they deserve the protection of this security service? And we ended up coming up with these really sort of adorable, cartoony things that in market didn't perform well because there was a sense of, I don't understand what this imagery means when it comes to its relevance to the product. But it worked really, really well at conferences as swag. So we had plushies made of these little adorable systems, and people were like they were gone. Instantly people
Yeah.
were like, give me one of those, I'm bringing it home to my children so they can play with my little plush server rack. So we changed the messaging and the imagery and market, and it ended up working out fine. But it was really fun finding that divergence where it's like what works in person when you have an opportunity to tell the story that goes
Yeah.
with that imagery can be different than what works in, a hero image or a banner ad or social media post.
Yeah, and so the way you were describing it, it kind of reminds me about sort of becoming a little emotional in a good way, that emotional attachment to the solution. But right, that's kind of what you have to do for customers because brands are supposed to, you're supposed to get this sort of feeling of
Mm-hmm.
something when you see the logo of the brand. So while the end result may not have necessarily matched the outcome that you wanted, I still think, I think that's a great way to go about connecting humans and their emotions and feelings to things that can help them in life.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said, and you see this a lot in the way like sports teams market themselves is a lot of it has to do with embodying this sense of we're giving you a shared experience. It may not necessarily be that like I am handing you something that you could take and hold on to. Like if you go to a football game, you just have the memories to take back with you, or maybe some indigestion from like bad stadium food, depending on what you're into. But the thing that makes you loyal to a team isn't something the team gives you other than those good memories of the way it feels when everybody is chanting the same, song to support the team, or the way it feels when everybody suddenly yells and you feel everything vibrate as they're stomping and screaming about everything. You're not necessarily going to get somebody stomping and screaming for cybersecurity,
No.
but you can give them a good feeling like, "I'm part of something important here. This this is a tool or a brand that I can feel comfortable with and confident with because they also respect me and
Yeah.
who I am and my role."
For sure, and I always felt security while there's a lot of the fear, scary statistics, we got hacked. I also always felt security should be that peace that actually provides peace of mind.
Mhm.
You feel secure, and that's something I don't need to worry about from a business perspective. So as a team, what is one of the things you most miss about working with a team?
Oh, you know what? Nobody's good at everything.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky to be working with a team of really creative people where if I just wave my hands in the right way, then a designer goes like, "Oh yeah, I see what you want to do with the motion in this animation for this ad. That's going to tell this story really well." I'm like, "Thank goodness somebody understands my hand gestures. Thank goodness there's somebody that can see the imaginary thing that I've
Yeah.
come up with in my head and help make it a reality."
Yeah.
I just think that that's fun. That's cool.
Yeah, I felt very fortunate, at least on the last team. Everybody sort of had their specialty, and with everybody working together, we came out with some fantastic things. So, a little lightning round. What is one of the things you learned during this job journey or job search journey?
Ooh, um, I learned that it's good to save your cover letter writing energy for the kinds of job applications where it seems like a person is going to be reading that cover letter. Like you
Yeah.
can tell the difference between an AI generated job requisition and one that somebody wrote because they're looking for a particular type of like personality for their team. Save it
What
for
is some
that second one.
Yeah. What is something you've been surprised by or maybe didn't expect?
Um, I have been impressed by how many people are taking the time to call out, like call attention to some of the problems in the current job market in terms of
Oh,
like
that's a good
here
one.
here are some ways where like this number of people have in purportedly clicked the apply button, but then the recruiters are saying, but we're not seeing real applications, and that mismatch is important because it means go ahead and apply for the ones where it seems like everybody's already applied. Things
Yeah.
like if you don't get that rejection email right away, that automated rejection email right away, that might actually be because you're like the second best candidate, and they're just waiting to see if the primary candidate goes somewhere else. So don't give up hope and stuff like that.
And so then would that be maybe your piece of advice or a tip for everybody, not giving up hope, or what would you?
Definitely don't give up hope. And also think about ways that you can do like a multi-pronged approach when you're
Mhm.
applying for a job that you're really interested in. Don't just put in your application, but look, like, do I have a second order connection on LinkedIn to somebody who is part of this team already? And can I get their connection that we share to write me a little note about it? If you see that there's an email address, or because you've worked with people from that company before, what their typical address format is, don't be afraid to send a cold email. Salespeople do that all the time.
All the time.
Test it
Yeah,
out. It might work out for you.
that's my biggest thing, as I've noticed. It's not who I know, it's who the people it's who the people I know, who they know, that's
Hmm.
important. I don't know if I explained that right, but you know,
Yeah, it's that second order
that
connection. We're
second
all
level.
we're all playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but in order to try to make rent, you know.
Right. Yeah. What are some of the things you're doing to stay hopeful? Because this can be quite stressful, lots of anxiety.
You know, I have the greatest kids in the world. I understand everybody else does too, but I'm quite fond of mine. And I'm so grateful for how understanding they have been about the need
Oh,
to like cut back the family expenses and do, especially around the holidays. They were like, Mom, what if we exchanged library books? That way you don't have to pay for anything, but we get
oh, that's
something
so
cool under
sweet.
the tree and stuff like that. So just thinking about how resilient they are being inspires me to want to be more resilient.
Yeah,
And in terms of keeping busy, I mean stuff like this. How
I
you
love
doing?
it. So, one final one. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Ooh, um, that's such a fun question. I think that if I knew that I would not fail, one thing that I would really like to do is actually expand my little independent wrestling promotion that I secretly run.
Oh, nice.
I am so excited right now because one of my very dear friends, who is a local luchador by the name of Celestial, he had a big improvement in his wrestling career prospects, in part because of a show that I did last February that just happened to be really, really successful. And he got a lot of eyes on his amazing wrestling talents. And just being able to take my ability to do marketing and help somebody have a career in something they had wanted to do for their entire life, that's an amazing feeling. And being able to help people is something I love to do.
Oh, that's so cool. And, obviously your skills transfer from not only the tech industry, but also the world of entertainment.
It's a lot of the same kinds of things. I was actually working on kind of a branding exercise with Celestial because he was like, "Oh, well, this was my former wrestling persona, but I really want to create something new to build on this new energy, this new attention that I'm getting." But a lot of the same branding exercises apply to one person as applied to a massive global corporation.
For sure. Very cool, Julia. And we put so for those of you looking for content strategist, content writer, a highly creative individual that's just simply fun to work with. If you haven't pulled that out of this video, I'm telling you right now. So there's her LinkedIn profile. We'll include the link in the description. But obviously, if you see it, you should remember it. Any last words, Julia?
Oh, I'm just glad to be here. Thank you, Peter.
Well, thanks for joining me. This year, one of the early adopters of the Reemployment Project. And for those of you who don't know, Julia actually helped with crafting some of the questions for this series. And I even hijacked, I used to have it as top tech talent ready to go. So they were ready. They could jump and start their job right away. But when she pulled out the Reemployment project, I had to use it. So thank you so much for that, Julia. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like, that share, that subscribe. If you yourself are unemployed or searching for a job in the tech industry, drop a comment. We'd be more than happy to get you on the show, maybe provide you with another piece of content for all of those recruiters out there as I knock stuff off my desk. And if you're a recruiter, please consider these folks that we're highlighting in the Reemployment series. For my pal Julia, thanks for joining. I'm Peter, and this is Top Tech Talent Reemployment Project. Thanks for watching.